if my daughter will kickbox.
Yeah.
No.
All right, we are here with the man, the beast, Ibrahim El Boustati. This is the guy who's all over the internet KOing Andrew Tate in 1 minute. And I was curious what this guy actually is. For the people who don't know you, Ibrahim, can you give us a short summary, a short introduction? Like, who are you? How did you come to this point? And why are you so popular on the internet right now?
My name is Ibrahim El Boustati. I'm born in The Hague, in the Netherlands, fighting from 10 years till now. Got my own shop, the Boosterstore. As you can see, gloves, shin guards, everything. Yeah, I'm a happy man.
That's good to know. I also heard you just became a dad. Congratulations with that.
Thank you very much.
Did it change you? Like, are you still a fighter? Have you always been a fighter in your blood?
First, I played football, but I only went for the snacks afterwards. And I really became really fat. On school, they weren't treating me very good because I was a little bit chubby. But when I was 10 years old, my brother Hafid, also a professional fighter back in the days, walked with me into the gym. There I got my first kickboxing lesson, and from there on, I never stopped. My first fight was when I was 14 or 15 years old. It was at heavyweight, at 100 kilograms plus. And yeah, from that day on, I never stopped. When I became 18, I went down 85 kilograms, 90 kilograms. And at the age of 21, I met Andrew for the double title. So it was a very long road for me.
Awesome, man. 14 years old and already fighting in the heavyweight. That's not what a lot of people can say. And you had a long winning streak. I think at least you had 50 fights before you had your first loss.
45-0. When I beat Andrew, I was 45-0. Was the double champ, 85 and 90 kilograms at the time. Then I got my first loss, and now I am with 20 KOs. So yeah, I'm still in the game, you know. The only reason I'm not fighting that much anymore is because there isn't as much events as there was usual. A lot of events canceled. Yeah, they went smaller, so the wages became a problem for the organizations. So I'm now transitioning to the MMA, but I like it as well. Still a lot of work to do, the ground game, but the striking game, I'm on the top level, so it's only 50% left.
And we all want to know, of course, how it is that there are so many world champions in the Netherlands, how it is that back in the days, kickboxing was in a different organization, how it actually goes downhill now, but there's still MMA organization. Because you've been a world champion before, right? But not one time, but 4 times. Am I right?
4 times, yeah.
4 times world champion, like a real legit organization, not the ISK and something like that. Yeah. And of course, everyone wants to know, how was your fight with Andrew Tate, and how was he in person?
First of all, back at the days, we were both champions. I was the undefeated 85 kilograms world champion of Infusion. At the moment, he was 90 kilograms world champion. So the weight differences was like 5 kilograms. And he really, really wanted my title. He was the one that wanted to fight me. Back in the days, I didn't know him very well. I saw him a little bit on Infusion Reality and YouTube videos, stuff like that. But I didn't know what he did for a living, you know. I heard only Andrew Tate this, Andrew Tate that. He's a millionaire and he's fighting. I thought no problem. He didn't want wage as well. So he fought for free against me because he already had the money. The money wasn't the problem. The motivation wasn't the problem because he really wanted the belt. And he trained really well. You know, he trained, he went to Romania to training, then went to USA to train. And then came to Holland to fight me. And within 1 minute, it was over. But everything before the fight was even more story, because the fight only was like 1 minute.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I was with Andrew the whole week until the fight. Because he was here in the Netherlands, so we ate at the same restaurant. We slept in the same hotel. We went to the same weigh-in. Went to the same press conference. So I had a little bit chit chat with him. The Andrew of that time isn't the Andrew he is now. At that time he was very kind, you know, he got kind words. He was very into sport, you know, he loved kickboxing. That's what I'm seeing now. That's not the case. He's smoking cigars and, you know, things like that. But at that time he was very good, and he fought against good names, and then he fought me. At the fight, he came forward because he was bigger. He was 30 years old, like 1 meters 95, and very heavy because he came from the 90 kilograms and I went up. Yeah, he was very motivated, and he was directly after the bell, he was directly starting the attack, and he could see everything because I saw what he was planning. You know, he wants to kick and then punch me out. But I already knew what he was going to do. So I tried the left hook a couple of times. A couple of times I missed, but there was one that really hit him very good and broke his eye. He had a fracture in his eye. So he couldn't continue. He stopped. After the fight, I became double champ. But right after the fight, as I was celebrating my title, he was already in front of a camera to tell the people he already had the injury, that it's not because of me, but because he detached retina. And I was like, I didn't see it until now, until this year. And we fought in 2016, you know. So like 5-6 years later, he's coming out with the videos of his eye and stuff like that. And the reason he does that is because I went out with the video of the fight. And now he's a little bit defending himself and protecting himself, so people outside the fighting world won't see the video. But inside the fighting world, a lot of people know already that I have beaten him. Not to chase clout or something, because I want the truth, you know. He needs to tell up like a man, because he says he's a man. And if he really is, take your loss and don't lie to your own fans. He's already lied a lot of times, I think. Not only with fighting, but also with his other companies. So the reason actually I came out with the video is because he lied. That was the biggest reason. Second reason is I went to Infusion to ask about the video, to put it online against Andrew Tate with high quality, with commentary, everything on it. And they refused it. The reason was because of Andrew Tate. So you already know who got the power and who got the money. Money talks. And as you see, I think that's the reason why they don't put it on YouTube. Because if they put the fight on YouTube, it will bring 1 million views, you know, not only for me, also for Infusion.
Exactly. And that's so weird. But at least we know that he was, back in the days, he was a legit fighter. It wasn't like, although the biggest fight he had after you, and then he had like 3 smaller fights, and after that he just went on to his other schemes. Let's say that.
He was like fighting me, and after my fight, I didn't hear from him until 3 years later, and I heard he was fighting some Romanian barkeepers, and all 3 of them was like one round KO, you know. Weren't fighters with a big name. They were just fighters. So he won all 3 of them and put it on Wikipedia. My fight, the last fourth one, didn't put on Wikipedia. So you only see his last 3 wins. Also that, I think, because he can pull out my fight and come to the people like I'm the champion. If he comes with TKO loss, the people who are now fan got a lot of questions to answer, I think.
I noticed that. And I also noticed that also with a lot of big kickboxers, they just can't handle the Dutch kickboxing. Is there something in Holland that, is it the exposure, what it is? Because every single gym I've been here to, they had world champions. Yeah. So just becoming a world champion, it's nothing actually. You have to be at least multiple world champions to be at least registered. What do you think? Because you're at that level. Like you're not, you're not amateur.
I think the Dutch style kickboxing is the most dangerous style in the world. Andrew Tate was an American kickboxing style, so it was a little bit more springy, a little bit more kicking and hands low. But we are learned hands high, left, right hook, and a good low kick on it, and that's it, you know. And if you repeat it a couple of times, your opponent is done. Because we think very simple but effective. I think that's the danger of Dutch style kickboxing. We do everything hard and go forward. That's the thing. Yeah. And I think a lot of even Thai Muay Thai fighters, they have just problems with constantly pushing. Hits very hard, you know. So I think that's the biggest difference between the other styles. And Andrew Tate is the same. He went forward with hands low, but he says he has his hands low because of his eye. He can see, that's the reason he has hands low. He's lying, because this is American kickboxing, you know. They stand like this, legs a little bit more out than the Dutch style, and they always start with a kick, and then they hit with a fist. So It's a little bit more different than Dutch style kickboxing.
I also noticed, like in the UFC, they have this calf kicks.
Yeah.
But funny enough, when I was amateur boxing, we had a calf kicks like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Is that also like a Dutch thing? Or?
No. The calf kick is we like low kicks, man. We like really the kicks to the thighs and not to the calves. It's also very dangerous, because if you kick with your foot and you hit his calf, maybe his shin, you have a bigger problem as he does. A good kick to the thighs is more effective than a calf kick.
That's true.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people here who train kickboxing, but they never become a pro. They never become, let's say, a champion of Holland, let alone a world champion, let alone multiple times world champion. I always wonder, is it nature or nurture? Because with some people you can see, like Mike Tyson or some people like that these people are born to be world champions. With other people, you cannot really see that, but they have something and they become world champion. Yeah. Is it because your brother is influenced, or is it because of a lot of other people that told you were good, or was it more like step on step because you never lost a fight until you got multiple times world champion?
It's both. You need a very good team behind you, and you need your own dedication. And the mixture of that two will bring you a championship. If Islam Makhachev didn't have Khabib behind him, he would never be as quick as now a champion. You have a very good team behind you. And they also say of him, you have a title shot because of Khabib. That isn't true. He always wins. And that's the factor to become a champion. You need to win constantly. You can't slip. I had a really, really, really good record from when I was 18. I signed a contract with Infusion. And after that, I just won one by one. The whole middleweight in the Netherlands, I all defeated, Even now, still now, the middleweights walking in glory, I also defeated, like Ertugrul Bayrak, for example, Clyde Brunswijk. All those guys from now, I already defeated. So I had already climbed myself to the top. At the top, I had a title shot, and I won it at age 20. And I was the contender, not the champion. I took the belt of the champion. So from Miroslav Single, that was the champion at that time. He also won from Andrew Tate, Miroslav, on points. So I won from Single, and from that time I kept winning. I kept winning till I was at 44-0, and that was the moment I re-signed a contract with Infusion for another 3 years. After the 44-0 and the new contract, I was blessed with a fight for the 90 kilogram title, and I took it with both hands. And that's, I think, the reason why I went so far, because I kept winning, I kept training. That's the dedication you need, You can't slip, you can't lose, or you can't, you need always to be focused outside the fight, but also inside the fight. And how do you keep you focused? With your team that's behind you. They keep you focused, they keep you ready. With my brother behind me, it was a little bit easier. For sure, because he already had the experience of fighting. He was a professional himself. He fought against the greatest, against Petrosian, against Grigorian. He had the knowledge to tell me what to do and not to do in my career. That's only advantage, I don't see that as I needed him, because we needed each other. He needed me and I needed him. And we as team, we became a champion,
And that's not bad, because of course, it's nature and nurture, but indeed you have unfair advantages, which is not bad, because you can be a boxer, you can train as hard as you want. You're not going to win a Floyd Mayweather, which is training just as hard, but he has dad and he has two uncles who are world champions.
Yeah.
Same as the people in Dagestan. Yeah. I mean, there's so many people wrestling in Dagestan, but who's the winner? The Khabib team. Because, they just have unfair advantages.
If you lose against somebody, it's over. Somebody is going to tell you he's better than you, So you're already then down, but you want to be over him. You want to be at the top. So there's constantly like a pressure for yourself to win. And the pressure, some fighters can go good with it, some not. If you have very good talent, but you can't go with the pressure, you already will lose, It's a very big factor to keep calm. And also, if you are winning, you need to still continue the wins, That's the most difficult thing. To become a champion is easy, but to stay a champion is very difficult. Because they will hunt you. All the fighters in the middleweight, they hunted me. They pushed for a title fight every time. And I never said no, So that's also yeah, the meaning of a champion, to stand for what you are, to know for what's good for you and what not.
I saw a lot of people in the gym where I was training. They trained, they were good, but at some point they just stopped. And it could also be the pressure they had, because for the first fight, I did one amateur fight and it was like so pressure. Like after that, I was like, all these punches in my face.
Yeah.
Do I really want to become a pro? With, let's say honestly, you don't get that much money out of it.
Yeah.
So it's like you were kind of born of a fighter, because in Holland, the Dutch people are very good, but there's a second group, that's the Dutch Moroccan type. You don't see that with other people. Is it because there's a lot of Moroccan fighters over here? They'll look up someone, because there's Badr Hari, but before Badr Hari, they were also like other Moroccans and stuff like that. Do you think it's like exposure?
It's also a mindset. Yeah, at the age of 16, 15, you don't know what you want. You don't know what you will become in about 10 years. You don't know it. So for me, it was, I really wanted fighting. That's the only thing I wanted. I wanted so bad that I looked at my brother at the training. It just hurt inside that I couldn't train with him, because it was the elderly group, and I was still under 18. So I already knew that this is it for me. It's something inside you. It's like a flame that burns when you see a glove. It's just in you. And some fighters are good. They have the talent, but they have a lack of fire in them, or lack of discipline. You need both. You can't slip one and then hope you become a champion, because you need it. You need the flame. You need to want the belt. You need to want to be a champion. You need to want to be a pro. You also need to work for it. It's not only to dream about it. You also need to work for it. Back in the days, there wasn't social media. So if you saw kickboxing on TV, it already was very violent for you. And you see some guy hitting the floor and you think, that's nothing for me.
Back in the old days, there were people like very rough, because I think there was no social media, and people were like, the people who got into the gym were quite tough guys. They were either security guys or bar people, and they still do that. You also see now a lot of females, you see a lot of students, you see a lot of people who work full time. Maybe they don't want to become the best pro, but they can be very good at amateur level. And sometimes they are very good, but they don't compete because they have a full-time job. What are your thoughts about that? Because now, of course, the organization are changing. There's still more people kickboxing. Also, an organization are still having less and less money. So can you tell me a little bit how the organization is? What you know that most of the people don't know, and what you're allowed to talk?
I think the future perspective of the kickboxing in Holland isn't that good. I think the people know it can't be your work here in Holland, because you won't get paid every month. You only get paid when you fight. And if there are no events here in Holland, then they need to work. There's no option. You have now a lot of fighters. They come to the top, and if they are there, they want to earn some money. But at the end, they will see the money isn't the money they thought it will be. Put it all together of your fuel costs, of your training costs, of your supplement costs, percentage you need to give to your trainer. It's not much, So they're going to work, they're going to go to school, they're going to study, they're going to marry, they're going to all kinds of stuff, but no fighting. So I think it's the perspective. So what's the offering kickboxing has, make your money in kickboxing. It isn't that easy. So a lot of people just do it for the fun, to sweat, to train with their friends or something like that. That's now very popular. But the fighting group, the fighting people that really fights in the ring, that's a little bit less now. Yeah. A lot of people don't have the motivation anymore to fight, because less events, less money, less everything actually. So I hope it will be better in the future. There will be some better organizations, some more organizations will help the people only to become pro.
I've heard it a lot from the pro fighters that they will definitely not want their kid to fight pro because there's no future perspective. I guess you're the same.
Yeah, but that's not the reason I won't let my daughter fight. The reason I don't want her to fight is because of the protection. Every father is a little bit protective, and she don't need to fight outside. She got her daddy. For her, yeah, if she wants it, she can do it, but it isn't necessary. It isn't like I will push her to go to the gym and to put on the gloves and to train because daddy does it as well. It's her own choice, and if she wants to ride the horses or swimming, also good, So what makes her happy, she needs to do it. And I think kids don't need the pressure now. They just need to evolve to a adult, and in the meantime, they can do whatever they want.
Because you had it the same, like you also had you did kickboxing, you just found it fun and you just continued like that.
Well, the biggest difference between me at 16 and the 16-year-olds now is that I hadn't got any phone or Instagram or social medias. Kickboxing was my passion, I really wanted, because there was nothing else. I could go play outside to play a little bit soccer with friends, but that wasn't as well. I just wanted to go to the gym. I hadn't the phone, I hadn't socials, I had nothing. I didn't have TikTok. So the only thing I wanted was kickboxing. And I think the distraction of the socials now for the kids these days is so big. For me that wasn't like that. I woke up, I went to the gym, and before the sleep I went to the gym. So very different.
What do you think these people can do? Like some people, they don't have a father figure, they also don't have a religion.
Yeah.
Should they go do a gym? Should they do boxing? Because I mean, you can at least work for something, right? If you get punched in the ring, you at least have something to look forward to.
Yeah.
It's more something. Do you recommend people to at least do some amateur kickboxing or boxing?
I will recommend you to do what you think it's best for you and what you like the most. If you like fighting, just try it, I got a lot of people coming in the store here. They are new to the sport. They're going to the first lesson, but they are scared as hell. They are sweating because they are nervous for the first training. They are scared to get some good punches. After the first training, they always come back to the store and they are very relieved and happy that they went to the training, because kickboxing is like a therapy, and physically you get very strong. So the mixture of that two will make you a very strong person in life.
Yeah, a lot of people are just afraid of pain and something like that. But if you get a few times punched in the face, then it's not that big of a deal, right?
Yeah.
How did you go with that stress? Because it's not like you were just in the local gym. You went fighting to heavyweights.
Yeah.
They would punch you, they would kick you, they would do all kinds of stuff to you in your face. And I can imagine it's very stressful.
I had a lot of pain in my career, a lot of injuries. But the pain is temporary. Pride is forever. You will get hit now today, you will feel the pain tomorrow, but in 2 days, you are good again. If you want something like a title, you're going for it. It doesn't matter how much pain it costs, because if you got the title, it will be forever. And it won't be gone tomorrow or something like the day after. You can tell it your kids, your grandkids, you can tell it everybody. So it's something you take it with you. And that's the biggest thing.
Do you think some people also have resistance against punching? Because some people, you just tap them on the nose and they bleed like hell. And some people, they never bleed.
Yeah, I also never had a blood coming out of my nose. Very strange.
Like I always had that in the gym.
Really?
I always had it, and I've heard some people.
It can be like a vein that every time explodes when you get hit. That's the most problem.
I think there's one guy, Raymond Lichters or something like that. He had that, and then he went to the doctor, got lasered.
Yeah.
I didn't know that back in the days, but
that's to put the vein closed again. Yeah, it's a very common problem with a lot of fighters. Me myself never had it. I also got a nose to go in, it's like a boxing nose. Yeah, but I always had injuries, I had very bad injuries, like knuckle injuries or shin injuries. So that was very tough.
But at least you got an unfair advantage is that you never had like too bad of an injury.
No. It wasn't that I couldn't fight a fight or something, or I needed to cancel a fight or something like that. I was always ready to fight. Yeah. So.
Do you think there's a difference between heavyweights, lightweights, both men and women? Because you see a lot of female fighters now, they become very good. Some of them fight even better than most men.
Yeah.
It is very ironic to see, because back in the day they said women cannot fight, and now they fight better than most men. Yeah. So how does that actually develop? Is it like women have now more access, fathers or other figures where they can look up to?
I think the women in fight sport are getting promoted good, you know. Like the UFC now, every event they trying to put a girls fight in, or like a Glory Kickboxing, they always have a girls fight in it. And back in the days, like the K1 times, it wasn't like that. You know, you didn't saw a girl in the ring in Japan or something like that. It was always guys, big guys. So you already had the image of kickboxing like it's only for men. And now you're seeing with the socials, the girls are sharing the gloves and sharing the trainings they do with kickboxing, and they motivate other girls to train as well, you know. So it's like a domino effect. I think now a lot of girls training also because it's more dangerous outside, so they can defend themselves without the pepper spray or something, you know. That I think that are the two big factors.
We now saw that Badahari, which was one of the best kickboxers ever, and actually the empowerment of Moroccan kickboxers. He just retired now. He of course needs to have a replacement. Do you think you can be a replacement, or other Moroccans guy, or are you going to continue with kickboxing or going to other organizations?
I have talked with Glory a couple of times to settle a contract, you know, to see if they really want me in their organization. But we didn't come out together, so it will be MMA for me. I already had Infusion, like my whole career I fought Infusion at the highest level. For me it was another big organization in kickboxing for 2 fights, 3 fights, or directly MMA. So it will be directly MMA for now. And the hope is to go in 2023 to go to the USA to train there with Henry Hooft. And I hope to make my UFC or MMA debut, you know. And I'm still young, 27. So maybe if I'm in the 30s, I will also make my UFC debut at one time. That's the biggest dream I have.
Who knows? You're 27. For a heavyweight, that's still on the start of your career. And you've already been 4 times world champion in kickboxing.
Yeah.
At the age of 20, you had your first world title.
I have a good resume, but you need also to let them see what you have in skills in MMA, you know, not only the striking, but also the grappling, takedown defenses, everything actually. That's still the things I'm working on. And it needs time, you know, it needs a lot of time. I think if you take 2 years everyday training, every day focused on your ground game, you are nearby it, but you're not there, you know. It really has, look at Adesanya, look at Pereira. I mean, those guys, they already train on the ground every day actually. But if they fight a wrestler, they have a lot of problems. And that's the thing with wrestlers. They can take a striking guy very quick down, but the striking guy can't take a wrestler really quick down. But it's a matter of time. I hope when I am 28, 29, I can do an interview again with you, and I got a couple of MMA fights behind me.
Inshallah. We hope that you'll be at a higher level. You now are also in a time where MMA is getting promoted like crazy. People, casuals, are watching MMA fights. Have you looked at organization, or do you have something on an eye? Like, you see a lot of kickboxers now also go to one championship.
Yeah.
As MMA fighters.
Yeah. Last year I signed a contract with the First Round Management in Miami. They are the management of Jorginho Rozenstruik, John Jones, Masvidal, all the great fighters, Joe Romero. And they signed me for their management contract. That I had the chance because I went out of my Infusion contract. And I went searching actually for another kickboxing organization. And then I got in contact with First Round, and they had a plan. They wanted me to switch to the MMA because they saw the striking was top level. They only needed me to come to Miami to train with them, actually. They already had a house, a fighter's house. They already had everything for me. And they already had a fight for me, UI Warriors, Abu Dhabi. So for me, it was all perfect. Until the pandemic hit again, and it was locked down again, you know. So for me, it was again a cancellation in my flight, again a cancellation in everything, again cancellation in my plans. I still kept contact with the First Round Management. They still got my management in MMA. If they have a fight for me, I'm ready, you know. I'm now at this point of my life that I can be more blessed, you know. Got my family, I got my own shop, I got my pride, my belts at home, also of Andrew. I also got your belt home. So, you know, I'm now at a time of life, I want to do something to go a level up, to extend my legacy. And I think the step to the USA will be a good one.
We definitely see that you have the talent, but we also live in a time that there are a lot of people fighting who actually did not have a fighting background. Or maybe they have, but they have so much clout.
Yeah.
You hear the stories about maybe Jake Paul fight against Andrew Tate, and both of them you can beat them with one hand behind your back. So do you think it's maybe better to also promote yourself on social media? Because I'm not sure, that's a weird time we are living in. Like you have the talent, but for some reason you're not invited to fight them.
Yusuf, I will tell you something. If I had the flag of America behind me, I already was there. You know, it's just a matter of the right flag, the right country you lived in. Because let's to be honest, the real boxing influencers, or they are from England, like KSE and the other guys, or they are from the USA. But the other countries, they won't mix them in. So it's only the USA and the England. These two countries are the biggest in fighting, you know. If you watch the fighting game, USA and England are always the countries that are watching the fights. I get it. And I also get that Andrew Tate has a USA and a UK background. For Jake Paul, it's only a win-win. He can't lose. If he fights Andrew Tate, they're both gonna cash a lot of money. And it doesn't matter who loses and doesn't matter who wins. They will earn a lot of money. That's the main reason now fighting becomes a little bit like a circus because of these people. They come in, they put in a lot of money in it, they can't fight, and they are gone again. And they call it boxing. You know, and that's what makes the sport unbelievable.
Even though Mike Tyson had it one in his podcast, like he said, like all these celebrity boxing, it's kind of the new level. He likes it, but he's now also becoming a social media influencer. So I guess maybe that's the thing. So besides kickboxing, you also have a store, Boosterstore, I see, in The Hague. You're also helping new fighters out.
The franchise of the brand Booster Fight Gear. We have the shop in The Hague where we sell Booster Fight Gear, King, Pro Boxing, Fairtex, and Twins. Actually, the biggest name brands in the kickboxing. We also sponsoring fighters to keep them motivating, to keep them on track, you know, if they need something. But mostly they don't have the money, or the parents don't have the money to buy it for them. We are there to support our people, you know. A lot of fighters here in The Hague are sponsored by Booster to progress their career, to give stimulus to their career. And a lot of them are becoming a top fighter, and they will come back to the shop and will thank you, you know. So that's the thing you want to do for the people in your city and for the fighters.
Whether we want it or not, especially kickboxing is always having been said that a lot of people from the mafia is looking into that days.
The biggest problem is because you have a fighting background and you come from a poor background as well. You are very sensitive to money and to people with a lot of power. So if you are in your career and someone in mafia or mob or something sees you, and that's someone I want in my team, you know, because he can fight. I want him to work with me, and then the fighting is over because he's going to work with it. You know, he's going to go to the wrong track instead of keeping on track for his fights. He's going to the track of money. I don't say it's with every fighter. There are just a small group of fighters that's very sensitive for it, you know. But at the other hand, you also got the people with money who buys the VIP tables, entry cards, you know, entrance cards. Also, those people, you need them in the sport because the event needs to be sell out. If you don't sell, you won't fight. So people, young fighters, they need people like the bad people to pay their VIP tables and stuff like that, you know. And it's like that's the way they come in the sport.
Another like contracts and managers that people have to look up to, because you hear the stories in boxing, like Mike Tyson got messed over by I forgot his name, but
Don King.
Don King, indeed. So, do you have stories like that also in kickboxing?
Yeah, a lot of stories about fighters who aren't being paid, about trainers who steal the wages of fighters. But you know, that's something between the fighter and the person who he got a problem with. I think the biggest problem is they don't have the right people behind them, so they will make a mistake. Financially, but also with contracts and stuff like that. If we have a very good team behind you, they can double check you, they can advise you, they can tell you what to do and what not to do, and it's then up to you if you take the advice, you know. But if you are like Blanco, you go in and you don't know what to expect, we're really sensitive to get scammed.
Yeah, unfortunately. Ibrahim, you're legit 4 times world champion. I can see that you're very down to earth. You don't brag about it. You don't need to, because you're just what you are.
Yeah.
I mean, on the internet terms, you could be called like a real alpha male.
Yeah.
So you can actually tell the young people now advice as well, like whether it's about the sport or whether it's about life. What would you tell these young kids who are now full on the internet, on the Andrew Tate bandwagon, or on someone else in the future? What can you tell them? Give them a sense of direction.
The biggest problem I see is that parents lose the control of their children. When my mother told me I need to be 6 at home, I was 6 at home. Otherwise, I would get a lot of punishment. Nowadays, kids are still on streets at 11 or 12 o'clock in the evening. You know, so it's times changes. I think the best advice to give those kids is to have a future perspective for yourself, so you know for yourself what to do in about 5 years, and also to listen to your parents. Very important, because a lot of kids are now like brainwashed about the TikToks and things like that. They wake up with it, they go to sleep with it, they live with it, and the love for their parents is actually slipping away, because the time with parents, the time with family is now all in the phone. And that's the biggest problem, because I can see the kids are getting a little bit more loose. They just do what they want, you know, and that's mostly not the good things, because they are kids. And if they do what their mind tells them to do, it goes wrong. You need your parents, you know, until you're 18. Always advice of your parents is the best thing. And don't take advice of TikTok or socials. Just your parents. It's enough.
Maybe you can also give advice to those people, like the parents of the teenagers right now, even though you're not at that point, but
yeah, I think the most important advice is to be there for your child, to give him the love he needs, to give him the attention he needs, because otherwise he will search it on the internet, he will search it outside. Please give love to your child, because they are the future. And if your kids have any problems with aggressive or they got a big mouth, put them on a fight sport and they will get disciplined. That's a really good advice.
Now, last question. Is there something you want to ask or tell to Andrew Tate?
To Andrew. Andrew, for me, you can have all the money in the world. You can have everything you want, all your Bugattis, but I still got your belt. If you want your belt back, fight me. No matter what time, no matter where, no matter what day, I'm there. Beast versus Tate, part 2. Let's do it.